Christmas will be here before you know it.
Let us help you get a jump start on those Christmas quilts.
Hi, it's Donna Robertson.
And Fran Morgan with Fabric Café.
I know that for many quilters, the list of quilts to make for Christmas gets longer and longer every year.
We thought we'd get started early to give ourselves plenty of time.
We have 6 great patterns for Christmas and lots of beautiful new fabrics. And we have bonus images to share. So let's look at the first quilt. Now this quilt is stellar, and I love this quilt. I love that both of the blocks are a real generous size. And a big block like this has some great benefits. When you're making a quilt with bigger blocks, you can show off bigger prints if you'd like. And even though you might love piecing, the really cool thing is with fewer blocks, then your piecing time goes a lot faster. And the half square triangles are a real easy size to make. So it's very manageable whenever you're making the half square triangles. You'll be able to get this quilt done in no time at all. I'm going to show you how to make these blocks. We're going to crop out each one of the blocks and show you how super simple and easy they are to make. We're going to start with our number 1 block. And the number 1 block is going to be a simple strip set that we cut a unit off of, just like that. Then we're going to add a strip to either side of that block, and you are finished. And I love it. This is the first block, and you'll make them just like that, and you're halfway through making the quilts.
Oh my goodness, yes, that is going to go fast.
Now the next block is pretty simple as well. Again, we're going to get to show off that beautiful fabric right here in the center of the block, so it's just a square. And then we make units, and here we have a unit that's just 2 half square triangles that we've put together. We've sewn those together. We put one on the bottom and we put one on the top. And then we make another unit, and that unit is going to be here. We make the center of that the same way. We're just putting 2 half square triangles together, and then we add a square on each end of that, and you make this whole unit, and then you sew those on the side, and you've got this great quilt block when you're finished. And it does go together very fast because these are super-sized half square triangles.
Yeah, and something about a star quilt. It's just something about it, especially during the holidays.
Absolutely. I do too. I love stars. I have so much fun making all different kinds of stars.
And they're fun to go together, and you're building it, and it's just so cool.
It is. Okay, we've got this great fabric that we're going to put in this quilt, and these gnomes are precious in this number 1 fabric.
Yes, they all come bearing gifts.
They do. And we keep talking about the focus fabric. Well, the focus fabric is the fabric that you want to look at. That's usually the first one you buy. You're in the store and you see something you like and you think, I'm going to have that. And then you go looking for the companion pieces. So our focus fabric has these great gnomes. It's going to go in the center of each of those blocks, as I showed you how to put them together. And it's really cool because this is a directional fabric, and directional fabric works beautifully in this quilt.
Perfect.
You don't have to turn any of those blocks.
Love it.
Now, after you've picked your focus fabric and you know what you want, then you're going to pick the companion fabrics to go with that. We tell you to take the focus out of the equation while you're looking. You want to put those 2 together, and then you pick the lightest one for your number 2 fabric. And the really cool thing about this little formula that we give you is that it works every single time.
Yes.
And you know why? Because we designed these patterns so that it will.
So that it will.
Yeah, you don't have to worry anymore.
That's right.
But here's the little secret. The number 2 is normally your background, and it will cause your focus fabric and your number 3 fabric to take center stage.
Yes.
So it's the reason why we have that focus. Now the darkest fabric is the one that's left over after you compare those 2, and it's the one that adds that pop of color in your quilt. And it really highlights the design. It helps you to see the movement in the quilt.
Yes.
So in this case, our star points are going to be in the number 3 fabric, and they do pop, don't they?
They really pop, and it really helps that star just shine, kind of.
Yeah, so you're looking at the quilt and it's almost like they're shining for me because you love them. Is that not adorable?
It is so cute. And those gnomes add such a personality to the quilt, I think. And in the center of that star, you have to almost do a double take and go, oh, what is, oh, look at those.
You're right. It adds personality. I love that. So the personality of those gnomes right in the middle of the stars. They're the star of the
Very
show.
cute. Very cute.
I really like them. And I love the way the number 3 fabric is framing the quilt.
Yes.
So it holds it all together and makes this the gorgeous quilt that you're going to want to make. Now the kit name on this one is Jolly Gnomes. It's the stellar pattern from Quilts on the Double.
Now this great pattern is Joyous. I love Joyous because it has so much movement in this block here. And I really like the interest in this one here. This will hold a smaller print fabric or a textural fabric, which is great. And the reason why is because you have so much movement in this block, which is really awesome. Now, this block here is made very, very simply. We just have a strip piece unit in the middle with strips sewn to the side. And on this one, it's a little sneaky. It's like a 4-patch, but we have a corner right here. We're just gonna make this 4 times and then rotate it around. And that creates that really cool spinning star that we've got going on there. So this is a really fun quilt. Let's get it on the table, check out some great fabric. I love these kind of snowy fabrics. I think they're so much fun. And this one is extra special because it has a sprinkling of metallic. All 3 of our fabrics have a little bit of metallic on it. And I love that because it catches the light so beautifully and just gives your quilt an extra glow. Now, special little thing about our metallics, they're making them so well now that they're still soft and they're easy to sew through. They won't come off on your iron or anything like that. And as you wash your quilt, they're still going to be just as beautiful as they were.
Now, I can show my age on this one because when I first started quilting, I avoided those metallic-y kind of fabrics like a plague because they would get all over my sewing machine and it would get on my iron. And when they perfected this technique, I was so excited. So, but I have been quilting a while.
Well, I know I kind of remember that too, but now they're so beautiful.
They're beautiful.
And this focus fabric just has so much beautiful silver on it, and it just highlights the snowflakes so well. Now this is going to go everywhere you see this light blue here, and then there's a little bit on the border as well. So you're really going to be able to showcase those snowflakes. Now for our number 2, and you know this is our lightest of the remaining 2, that is going to go in our background where you see the little white print here. And what's really neat about this, it still has the metallic, and we wanted to keep our number 2 fabric interesting and with the theme. Now for our number 3, of course, we want that anchor there. And so we went more with a mottled, and you can see how perfect it matches our focus fabric. I love that. But it's going to give us that grounding that we need. It also has that fairy dusting of metallic on it. So it's all going to have just a little bit of metallic, which I love. Now this, like I said, is more of a solid kind of textural fabric. That's going to go everywhere you see the darker blue here. So it's going to really help this design pop, which is really what we want.
I tell you, this is going to be a gorgeous quilt.
Oh, so you can see on the screen, I love how this went together. And I love the way the snowflakes are like framing that number 3 fabric in that alternate block. And then that number 3 fabric is perfect for our pieced block there, giving that movement. So it really pops off the background. I really like this.
I love it because with the movement and then with the light hitting it, it's going to be kind of subtle, but it is going to be beautiful.
It's going to look like a fresh snowfall.
Ooh, I like that.
All right, we love this fabric so much that we thought, what would happen if we showed it to everybody in different patterns so you can see what it looked like? Here we have it shown in our evening stroll pattern, and you can see that focus fabric is really highlighted, which I love. And that number 3 creates that, it's almost like a chain that goes in
Yeah.
between. But, this is a 1-block because this is from our 1-block 3-yard quilts book.
Oh.
And it's a super fun pattern, and I really, really like this fabric in this pattern. Now, here we have it in our Friendship Star pattern. It just keeps being gorgeous. It never quits being gorgeous.
Oh, I tell you, with that focus fabric, it looks awesome in this pattern.
It really does. And you know what I like about it in this pattern is the center of the star has a little bit of that focus fabric. So that
Oh.
snowflake is coming through that star. It's almost like the stars are little snowflakes.
That are falling, and
Yeah.
it'll soon blanket the whole area.
Really, really great. Look at these side by side. Wow. Okay, mother-daughter here,
yeah.
we have the same responses, but
wow.
this is so cool seeing this fabric in all 3 of these patterns. So it's such a versatile grouping of fabric that's just going to be perfect for anyone on your Christmas list.
It really does show the magic of 3-yard quilts, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. All right, let's get you the kit information on this. It is called Sparkle Snow, and it's our Joyous pattern from the Quick Christmas 3-yard quilt book.
Now, Snowball is a great pattern that can show off a double focus. Now, what's really cool is when you make a snowball, you're going to do these little corners, and a lot of times you've seen them with a very light background where you really have this focused with a light corner up here, but we chose a darker fabric, and look how it makes these 4 corners come together, and you get this great, beautiful diamond, and it does create the separation so you can actually see the snowballs that you've made. Now, it's best to use a little more solid fabric in these positions because it really does keep your piecing from getting lost, and it really does accent those snowballs that you've made. So let's put it on the table, and I'll show you what I mean. Do you
Very
save
special.
all of your little pieces whenever you're cutting out a quilt and you've got these beautiful quilt fabrics, and it's like scraps, you're just like hanging on to them?
Like, what do I do with this? I need something to do with
yes.
this.
Well, when Fran designed this,
I did something with it.
you did something with it. So when Fran made her snowballs on this pattern, she cut those corners off and she just moved them right over here in the border. So it's a little technique. So no more putting those scraps in the drawers to use one of these days. It's going to be used today in making this quilt. If you want some tips on making this quilt, be sure to watch the tutorial where Fran steps you through it, and she'll show you how to use all those fun little scraps.
And you know what's cool is that really you could use the scraps from this quilt, but you could also use scraps that you already had for that border. So that could be a kind of a fun thing too.
Yeah, so you could use whichever scraps you want. It'll be a cute, scrappy quilt.
Oh, it would be. It really, really
I
would
love it. Okay, so now let's look at the gorgeous fabric that we have for this one.
The cardinals at
yes,
Christmas.
Cardinals at Christmas. They are just
It
gorgeous.
is a classic and always a favorite.
Right. And this is kind of a watercolor look. You can just see how the birds are just kind of watercolored. It's just so pretty.
It's beautiful.
And that is going to go everywhere where you see this flower. This will be our focus fabric in the number 1 spot. Now, when you're using a double focus, you want to make sure that you get the contrast between your fabrics by either putting something in between them, or in this case, they're going to be touching each other. So the way we get our contrast so that you can really see both of the beautiful fabrics is to go with a lighter fabric for the number 2. So we've got the darker for the number 1. We've got the lighter fabric for the number 2. It's going to go everywhere that you see the light blue on the quilt.
Perfect.
And then we have those corners, and we picked this beautiful red. It looks absolutely gorgeous with both of those fabrics. And those are going to make the beautiful diamonds on your quilt. Isn't that fantastic?
It is so good. And I love the way that the number 2, even though there's enough contrast between our number 1 and our number 2 fabric, the number 2 fabric has enough interest that it still draws you in, so you want to know what's going on there.
Yes.
So I really like that.
And look at that scrappy border. Isn't that precious?
I love it.
And do you realize it actually adds width to the fabric by using those pieces over there?
Absolutely. You know what's interesting too is that the number 3 fabric has a strip on either side of that half square triangle border, so it really kind of accentuates it too.
Yes, it really makes it shine. So
Very
this great kit is called Woodland Chorus, and it's the Snowball pattern.
Now this is a double focus quilt and it's called Jumping Jack. This is a really cool pattern because we have a nice big block here. You can see we have two different fabrics that it really shows off that placement. And you know what? This center part of this would be so perfect if you had a layer cake stack, a pre-cut that you could put in these in all different fabrics. It would be really fun. Then you could use some other fabrics to do this weaving effect to join these right here. I think it would be so super cool. This is a super easy pattern, just some half square triangles and a little square here in the corner, easy to put together. It's gonna go together in no time. Let's get it on the table. So let's crop out our first block here so that you can see, because sometimes these can get a little tricky and they're so much simpler than you think they are, but you can't see it because the way the colors are placed, it's kind of a trick of the eye.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here is our outside borders of our block. Now I'm gonna take it down to the very core here. The very center of this block is simply a square. All right, then we're going to sew a unit on both the top and the bottom of the square. And this consists of two half square triangles and a rectangle in the middle. This one's exactly the same. We've just turned it around and sewn it on the other side. Then we're gonna make two more units. And I'm gonna scooch this all the way over so that you can see this. So what this is it's our rectangle with our two half square triangles on each side, just like on top and bottom. But we've added these two small squares to each end to create a little bit longer unit for that longer side.
So clever.
So simple. And we're going to sew that also over here on this side of the block. So that gives us that like jumping jack. And that's it. Now, we're gonna make this block again in the other colorway here. This is made with our number 3 and our number 2 fabric. And as you can see, it is made exactly the same way. So very, very simple.
I just think you're such a clever designer, Fran. I love it.
I love that we get to do this together.
I do
each have our
too.
own thing. All right, we got some great fabric here. We have some very festive red poinsettias with a little rose in there, some berries, and it's on the red background. This is going to be our focus fabric. It goes where our larger print is here. Because this is a double focus quilt, we wanted to keep plenty of contrast with our light number 2, but still have that little bit of interest. So we chose a white, a nice creamy white with a polka dot on it that's done in the Christmas colors that matches our 1 and 3.
I love that.
That is going to go everywhere you see the green on this quilt, just a little on the border as well. That's going to give us lots of contrast in our background so we really see our shapes. Then for our number 3, we have actually gone with the same print as our number 1 fabric, but it's on a green background instead of a red background. You can tell that here. The green background and the red background give us our contrast so that it will differentiate between the blocks, which I think is important.
As I said earlier, the focus fabric is the one that you're drawn to, and this makes it really nice because then you can use 2 focus
That's
fabrics.
right. That's great. That's why we call it double focus.
Yeah, we can fall in love with both of the colorways.
So our number 3 fabric, of course, is going to be in our alternate block here. We have a little on the binding as well. Love it.
I do too.
I think the key to this quilt is that perfect number 2 fabric because it has that little dot on it to keep the unity of the colors, and it really keeps the contrast between the 1 and the 3.
You gotta have that high contrast.
Yes, and I love the fact that it's the same print and it really looks amazing.
And I love the diagonal movement that you're getting with it too. It's like this quilt has all, it just clicks off every box.
It's very fun. What if we put this fabric in the pattern that's hanging behind us?
Oh, wow.
Isn't this a cute pattern? Now, it's Christmas Forest, and we have used it in our trees on this one. And you can see, once again, the double focus works in this pattern because we have our red and our green trees. It's so cute.
The perfect separation.
And the little dot almost looks like it's snowing in the background. It's snowing Christmas.
I love it.
Now here they are side by side. And I think it looks fantastic in both quilts.
It does. Oh, I'd have a hard time deciding because I like both of them.
I know, it's so much fun. So it's really, really great. The kit information on this one, it's called Berry and Pine, and it's our jumping jack pattern from the Double Focus 3-Yard Quilts book.
Now, this beautiful quilt is called Grace. It is so much fun to make. First of all, the pattern has a 10-inch block that can use a directional fabric. And you know how we all are looking for those patterns where you know you can use the directional. Gorgeous. Now, our number 3 fabric in the secondary block could also use a larger print if you wanted to. So this particular block would have a smaller block in that contrast. That actually creates that movement that we're always looking for. Now, we have 3 borders on this, and we love the way that this number 1 fabric is framed on either side by the number 3. So it almost has a picture frame effect. You look like, oh, look at that gorgeous piece of art I've just created. So we have some elegant Christmas fabric to show you on this one. Now, the fabric that we've picked for this, I have to admit, it took me back to a moment in time when I was about 10 years old. And I remember trying so hard to stay up until Santa got there, because I was pretty sure it was Mama and Daddy.
Oh, you were trying to catch them, huh?
And I was trying to catch them. And darn it, if I didn't fall asleep.
Oh.
And then when I woke up and I sneaked over to the living room door, and I opened the door, and it had been transformed into this amazing scene. And the glitter, and you know, they always left the Christmas lights on, and that was back in the days where we had the tinsel.
Of course,
you know, the
and
aluminum.
that's back. You know, we're doing that again. Well, maybe it's not.
Well,
aluminum.
we aren't going to do it.
We aren't, but people are.
Yeah. But anyway, I saw this fabric, and that's what I thought of. And I mean, it's like this picture burned in my head, and you can just see the lights glimmering off of those beautiful ornaments. And we're going to put that focus fabric in the number 1 spot. And the cool thing about this fabric is all 3 of these have that metallic that we were talking about earlier, and it will catch the light, and your quilt would look like that shimmery look that I remember from, and I'm sure it has become much more beautiful through the years in my memory.
Well, it's also a childhood memory, which always has so much more emotion around it.
Yeah, it really did. It was just a gorgeous thing. Okay, and then our number 2 fabric, you always want to make sure you get that nice light color, because this is a dark background and you need that high contrast so that you can really see, but you want it to kind of like blend as well, because there's a lot of that number 2 showing here. And what more perfect than a gold snowflake on a cream?
So perfect.
I just think that's gorgeous. So then we have a number 3 fabric. Now, our number 3 fabric is going to be another beautiful print with the gold on it. But if you ever want a little tip for how to pick your number 3, always look at the background color of your number 1 and go with that, because you want it to kind of match with your focus fabric, but keep that eye traveling around the quilt,
right,
so that that is the perfect color. So if you're ever stuck, that's a little tip for that. Now, that number 3 fabric is going to be the center of this block, and it's also going to be your little stepping stones that we have there, as well as this gorgeous border that we were talking about earlier. Very fitting name, Holiday Glamour, for the kit. Yes. It is just a gorgeous kit.
You know, if someone would have told me that black was going to become a color for Christmas, I would have gone, what?
Ooh.
But you know, now that I see it, it is so pretty. It is so elegant. Mm-hmm. And paired with the gold, it's just, what a striking quilt in combination. And I love that the number 3 has that movement in it just to kind of keep your eye traveling. I think it's so cool.
So as I said, the name is Holiday Glamour for the kit, and it's the Grace pattern from Big Block 3-Yard Quilts.
Do you need a quilt in a hurry? Or maybe you're teaching someone how to quilt. Overnight Sensation is the perfect pattern for that. Now, there's some great points on this quilt. We have a great big 4-patch right here that's going to go together so quickly. It's done with strip piecing. You're just making 2 units and joining them right here in the middle. Then, when we come together, we've made this in a vertical row All we've done is put a sashing strip here and then a sashing strip here. So do you know what that means? There's no seams to match when you're putting this together. Only in this little section right here where that 4-patch is. That is it. Now, this also is written so that you can use directional fabric, which makes it super easy if you're looking for the perfect pattern to go fast. So let's get it on the table, check out some fabric. I love this. We have snowmen decorating their woodland Christmas tree here with all of their friends. We have a deer, we have a squirrel, we have a raccoon.
You got some
they're
bunnies.
all dressed up for the holidays and they're just precious.
They are.
So this darling fabric is going to go everywhere you see the flower on this one. Now we have paired it with something very, very sweet for our number 2 fabric. We have got all these little images of mushrooms and ornaments and pine cones.
Yeah.
And it's just so cute. And this is our lightest fabric of the remaining 2, but we put a print in it because this is a nice wide sashing. This is where this is going to go. And we feel like that this print is the perfect size for this sashing. And it's really going to add a little interest to our quilt. I like it.
It's not a boring number 2.
Not a boring fabric number 2 at all. So then for our number 3, now done this red that has a tone-on-tone.
grounding.
It's grounding. It has a tone-on-tone dot to it. In this case, give your eye a place to rest. That's kind of interesting that our number 3 is doing that in this case. But sometimes that happens and it's going to work perfect because it's going to go everywhere the green is. So we're going to have our nice big focus print here, our number 2 print here, and our red number 3 print here. And it's just going to work so perfectly and tie everything together.
Oh, sweet.
I love that the number 3 is on the very outer border too, so it kind of brings it all in. And I think that the focus fabric and the number 3 fabric really balance each other well because it's a larger print in our focus.
Yeah, I like that.
And it just gives us that wonderful, sweet feel of childlike Christmas.
Right,
And
those
I
childhood
love that.
memories.
Childhood memory, like you were mentioning earlier. All right, let me get you the kit information for this. It is called Frost and Fable. It is our overnight sensation pattern from the Easy Does It 3-Yard Quilts book.
How many quilts do you have on your list this year? Let us know in the comments because we would love to share in your quilting plans.
If you would like to see even more great patterns for the holidays, then be sure to watch the video that pops up.
Happy quilting!